So you love podcasts, and you want to listen to more amazing content, but you have no idea what to listen to. And your friends keep telling you about great episodes, yet you can never remember what they told you. Well, here's the answer. Good Pods. It's the social app dedicated to podcasts where your friends, podcast listeners, and favorite podcast hosts all come together to share on their feeds what they recommend and what they listen to. You can connect to others, bookmark episodes, start a conversation about the episode, connect to the hosts, and most importantly, listen to great podcasts right in the Good Pods app. Download Good Pods wherever you get your apps and start sharing with a community that loves to listen. Good Pods. It's where to connect and listen.
So here's how it works. You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed, and you believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you listen to Thrive Loud, and Lou shows you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
A third of the people love you, a third don't care about you, and a third hate you. So you concentrate on the third that love you and you go for it.
I think the greatest Achilles heel for leaders is they don't give themselves time to think.
So my journey is one of those, there are a lot of detours. There's a lot of going off on the side roads.
Thrive Out listeners, you're in for a treat. We're here with Jamal Mashburn, Jesse Itzler, the John Maxwell, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, New York Rangers great Mike Richter, Lisa Lampanelli, Mary Carrillo.
Oh, how nice.
I'm actually going through the practice of being an entrepreneur.
Pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and thrive loud.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I love it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have the Vice President of Operation at 97th Floor and is responsible for the award-winning work the agency produces for clients like Edmunds, Celebrity Cruises, and Salesforce. He has been a featured speaker at industry conferences all over the world, sharing insights learned through years of client work. He runs his agency incredibly efficiently, something we're going to chat about today. Thrive Loud listeners, Paxton Gray. Paxton, how are you today?
I'm so great. How are you doing?
Paxton is coming from Utah right now, Salt Lake City. And the question I actually wanted to start the gate with is 97th floor. You're not on the 97th floor, are you?
We are not. No, I think the tallest building in Utah is 32 floors, 35 floors, around there.
And so and the derivation of the name 97th floor, where that came from?
Yeah, when we started 15 years ago, back then, digital marketing agencies were few and far between. And those that existed said exactly what they did. We're SEO.com. And our founder didn't want to peg us into a specific tactic in digital marketing, but rather wanted us to be open and create more of a brand rather than something that said exactly what we did. So the goal was to, have that New York, LA agency vibe. And so he originally wanted to name it 100th Floor. And his wife said, no, that's too hard to say. 97 just rolls off the tongue better. So the domain was available. Boom. 15 years later, here we are.
It's pretty interesting, by the way. I actually used to work on the 97th floor a long time ago in a very, very tall building.
Really?
Show for another podcast, Paxton. We'll put that aside, but it's just really funny when I saw 97. I'm like, man, I didn't know Utah's buildings were that tall. So here's a good question. Listeners come to us all the time with feedback. And we get tons of requests for guests to come on the program, and we get to be pretty selective. I am pretty particular for those who have kind of an inkling and a good spin on marketing agencies. And I think this is really interesting because a lot of people, as we're recording this during the period of COVID-19, they're looking at self-development, improvements in their system, company development, and a lot of that requires engaging an outside partner. Paxton, if you could, I want to start this conversation by talking about some of the key things that one can make as it relates to picking an agency. And I think that'll help understand some of the work that you guys do, but also, I guess, that process and working together, because that'll be a great conversation for us to talk about marketing, agencies, et cetera. Sound like a good way to kick things off?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Let's do that. So, all right. I'm thinking about making a decision about changing my marketing, my messaging. Talk to me about what you look for if you were on the other side of what they should be picking on an agency side. What's the key thing you want to connect with?
So the key thing that a brand should be looking for when choosing an agency, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the key thing, the thing that you need to start with before you start looking is to understand what it is you need. And really to understand that, you need to have a good grasp on your metrics, which shouldn't be too hard. But you'd be surprised how many businesses don't have a good understanding of their metrics. And that helps them identify what those problems are. So, things like, what is traffic doing? What are conversions from that traffic doing? What are conversions by source? Things that you can simply do within Google Analytics with just a day or two setup. That's super crucial when it comes to hiring an agency. Because if you don't know what your problems are, you don't know exactly what you're looking for in terms of a solution. But let's say you know what your problems are. You have the data, you know at least the direction that you're heading for. From there, what you're going to be doing is looking at lots of different agencies, which is frankly a very difficult process. Agencies are not very good at getting back to people quickly. They're not very good at getting proposals out quickly. And so it becomes a little bit of an arduous task, especially if you work at a larger organization. You have to deal with procurement. That can be a very difficult task. So you don't want to walk down the wrong path. So an easy way to prevent that is to look for agencies that have experience, that have experience in your niche, that know what they're doing. And the way you can look at that, you need to go beyond their website. Look at references. Any good agency, if you ask them for references, they should be able to give you 3 or 4 different people and their phone numbers who can vouch for that agency and their work. That's a no-brainer. Definitely should do that. The problem is we live in an age when it's easy to spin up an agency and it's easy to make that agency look very big, right? Anyone can put any logos they want on their site almost without repercussion. So putting in the legwork to validate that is going to be extremely important. And the main thing, in my opinion, that you should be looking for is an agency that you can trust, that you believe what they're doing. And so you're looking for agencies that have tenure, that have lots of good reviews, that have good recommendations. So trust is number one. Number two, you're looking for an agency that's creative. And creative doesn't mean necessarily design, although that can be part of it, right? Creative means using the tools at your disposal to achieve the results. So you're looking for an agency that is, there are, for every one good creative agency, there's probably 20 other agencies that are more of the, I'm going to put my head down and just do what I know how to do kind of agency. That's more execution. And those guys have their place, right? Those are the people that they can take orders and they're usually maybe a little bit cheaper, but they're not much of a partner. And the likelihood of going in the wrong direction with an agency like that is high because they're not looking around at opportunities. They're just doing what they're told, which is, again, okay. I don't mean to knock on that. There's a place for that. But you're looking for an agency that's creative in terms of the way they think and they execute. And then the last thing you're looking for is an agency that is strategic, or an agency that has built their own philosophy and opinions on how things should work. That is going to, even if you disagree with a lot of those opinions, that's going to strengthen your own internal team and your own marketing. Because that's truly what a partner is, someone that will push back and provide feedback on the direction that you're going. And so that, in my opinion, are the 3 things you look for. Again, it's trust, creativity, and strategy.
Like it.
Yeah.
Paxton, you mentioned a key thing about figuring out what your problem is. So let's spin this. 97th floor, what's the main problem that you guys solve better than most?
What we can do better than anybody is find information on a market and connect that information with good marketing that will resonate with that market. I'm a big, big believer that good marketing makes the internet a better place for your market. It makes their lives better. It turns them into raving fans. Because if you have enough raving fans, suddenly you don't have as big of a job when it comes to marketing. They'll do the marketing for you. I mean, I think about Apple. Like, I'm the biggest Apple fan, and I have been for years, since probably like 2007. And during the course of those years, I can't tell you how many people I have switched over to Apple, how many MacBooks and iPhones I have sold almost personally. And I'm happy to do it, and I do it for free for Apple, right? And I think we all have examples of brands like that, where we're just raving fans. And the product is a huge part of creating raving fans, right? We can't, it doesn't matter what marketing you do. If you have a bad product, then you're just you're destined to fail. But if you have a good product and you have great marketing and a great experience to go along with that great product, then boom, that's a recipe for success. That's going to create exponential growth. That's what we do, is we understand markets and we connect great marketing with those markets to turn them into raving fans.
Okay, let's give 2 examples here. And I want non-97th floor clients, 2 things that you've seen that represents really great content creation that you've seen and not so great content creation that really hasn't connected with the customers. I'd love to hear from your expertise, kind of like seeing other things that are out there, things that are someone's doing a really good job, someone that could be doing a better job.
Yeah. And so you're looking for just examples out in the world or examples of things we've done?
I want examples out in the world that you haven't done, things that you've seen from afar. I don't want to look at the existing clients. I'm putting you on the gun here, putting someone else under. Talking about your own clients is one thing. I want to see what you've seen out there that you think is something that's been pretty credible. Yeah.
I think Taco Bell, if you look at Taco Bell and what they do on social media and what they do in terms of their product is great. They understand the kind of person that eats at Taco Bell and the way that person thinks and what appeals to that person. There's a reason that you can get food at Taco Bell at 1 a.m. in some places, right?
Right.
It's because they understand who that audience is. So everything they do appeals to them. Conan O'Brien has done some stuff on their social media, which is perfect for that specific audience. So you look, the people that love Conan O'Brien, a lot of those are the same kind of people that are Taco Bell consumers, right? So that I think is a great example. There's dozens more. But I like what they're doing in general, Taco Bell.
I want to get back to them in a minute. I want to see. Let's flip the side. Something you've seen of late that you thought that could be done a little bit better.
Yeah. Someone that's not been connecting well. I just did. I kind of use this as an example occasionally. This isn't maybe the strongest example, but you look at Betterment. Betterment, for those that don't know, is a service where it's kind of bot-powered investing. And so basically you can open up an IRA with them and their algorithm will pick stocks. And so what that does is it decreases their investment fee. It's a good service. I like them. The thing that they're doing, if you look at their blog, is their blog contains posts that are frankly the kind of posts that you and I would think about if we thought for just 30 seconds. So, why is the stock market so turbulent? What's the difference between an IRA and a Roth, right? A Roth IRA or 401k? Just like basic things that we would all think about if you were to say finance blog post, go, right? But if you do even just a little bit of analysis on Betterment's audience, you learn things like, number 1, they're 80% male. Number 2, of those men, almost all of them are husbands and fathers. They have kids, they got wives. And number 3, the vast majority of them, which you can find out pretty easily, are sports fans. And they live almost exclusively in California and New York is where the vast majority of their audience lives. So now we know they're husbands, they're fathers, they're sports fans, and they live in California and New York. Why aren't they creating content that actually talks to the husband, father that lives in New York that's a sports fan? If they went to A-Rod and sat A-Rod down for 30 minutes and said, hey, tell us about your investment strategy. How do you manage your portfolio? Or if they got Shaq is probably a better businessman than he is a ball player. If you could sit down Shaq and say, tell us about business, Shaq. Tell us about how do you invest? What's your mix look like? Do you have any idea how much that audience would eat up that content? That would be a slam dunk, pun not intended.
Pun intended.
Yeah. For that audience, like that would kill it. And yet, because they maybe they don't know or they don't want to take the risk at alienating people, they're essentially creating content for nobody by trying to create content for everybody.
Oh,
and so, and I don't mean to pick on them. They're like almost everybody, right? You look at most company blogs and they're just generic. They're not talking to any specific person. And by doing that, we're just filling the internet with a bunch of kind of fluffy stuff.
I think the worst example I've seen of bad marketing, and this was right when on April 15th, when the government was helping to subsidize a lot of people with a lot of the government programs coming out. Some high-end fashion company sent out a tweet along the lines of, "Hey, just got your government check. Go find our sale over at our product line." I mean, people are using this for food and sustenance, and here was somebody trying to target off of inappropriately. That was one of the ones that stuck out of my head. It's just bad form, so to speak. Like trying to take advantage of somebody and not doing it for them and not connecting with them, but just basically trying for their own selfish needs. And I think that's probably the ultimate in the way that you won't connect. Now I want to hit you with this challenge. There are a lot of issues going on right now as businesses are shifting to the new norm, as you and I were talking about before we hit record, and how to deal with business. Can you share some of the unique things that you're working on and helping your clients with what the new norm is, new ways of doing things, maybe even messaging or even delivery, something that's been going on in your world that basically due to COVID-19 has kind of changed the way you do things?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we're all obviously dealing with the work from home thing. So there's that whole thing to unpack. I won't get too much into that because I feel that's probably similar to what most people are dealing with. In terms of marketing specifically, it's very interesting. We do a lot of work in the B2B space, and a lot of our clients are doing fantastic. We do, however, have a couple clients in the travel space, and they are hurting big time. And so with those clients that are hurting, really the main key here is a little bit what we've talked about already, which is understanding and having empathy for the market and what they're going through. I don't think every message needs to be centered around coronavirus and talking specifically to that, but being aware that people are dealing with that. So, we work with a cruise company, and we are selling cruises for 2022 right now, which isn't something that you used to be able to do.
Right.
And so, we're not saying, "Hey, there's a virus, and now so we're going to do this." We just said, "Hey, if you're interested in getting on a cruise and having something to look forward to when this is all over, here's an option for you," right? We're also giving them experiences that are kind of enjoyable now from home. We've been working with this company to set up a live webcam on kind of on the ocean. So if you want to just pop open and see how things are doing in the Bahamas and kind of have a little virtual vacation, awesome, right? And so it's just basically anything you can do to show that empathy and not show empathy necessarily, but actually empathize with what people are going through. And again, it's all about, it's what it's always been about, which is helping make people's lives better. Bad marketing is about learning how to manipulate people to get them to do something that is to your advantage and not theirs. Great marketing is about learning how people work and getting them to do something that is to both their advantage and yours. That's what great marketing is. So I don't think that's changed at all throughout all of this. All it's done maybe is highlight the fact that that's the case.
I think that's a great point, Paxton. Look, everyone was highlighting about uncertainty. There's always been uncertainty. And when it's highlighted in a very serious situation, which is obviously endangering the lives of many people, that stress and all that environment is out there. But I'm with you. I think this is when it's like when you keep it simple and you go to the basics and answer the questions and solve the immediate problems, that you could really come up with something great. Like to your point, cruise lines, tough sell right now in 2020, 2021. But if we could push it out further, that's like giving us a horizon to look forward to and getting in on a great deal or showing your brand is going to be there. All of those factors are great ways to market. And I guess I also want to understand, from an agency point of view, that's challenging, right? Because most people don't necessarily feel that marketing is an important priority in all these circumstances. But I'm the opposite. I actually think that there's never a better time to make sure that you're getting the right messages and connecting. Has that been involved in some of the work that you're doing right now, aside from the cruise example? of trying to make sure that your customers and your brand specifically connect to their customers right now in this time effectively?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a big focus for us. With our own customers, our goal is to do the same thing, empathize, realize that, you know, they're going through some stuff that is really unique and they're having a hard time. So we want to make it as easy as possible for our clients to get what they're looking for. You know, we have a client who they do plays kind of all across the United States, and they can't sell a single ticket right now. They're completely shut down. And so, you know, we're working with them at this moment pro bono to just try to help them get through this. Because, I mean, what good does it do us to hold them to a contract only to have them go out of business, you know? So trying to help them get through that. And to the people who feel like this is not the time to be selling or not the time to be marketing, you know, I get where they're coming from. I understand that. And if you're in the middle of just this, you know, a lot of anxiety, if you're someone who's unfortunately had a loved one pass away because of this, the last thing you want is to have someone come in and sell you. You know, I totally understand where they're coming from. That said, you know, no one has done this before. No one has had to put together marketing plans in the middle of a pandemic. Now, maybe someone on Earth has, but no one currently on Earth has had to do that, right? So we're all just figuring this out. My invitation is, if you get someone that gives you a bad sales pitch in the middle of this and they seem a little insensitive, just cut them a little slack. They're trying their best, right? And it's to all of our advantage to keep things churning in terms of business as much as we possibly can. And we need to figure that out and how to do it gracefully and how to do it tactfully. But everyone's trying. You know, that person on the other end, they've got a family too, and they've got a job that they're trying to keep. So that doesn't mean you have to buy or even have to listen to them, right? You can just delete their email or hang up the phone. That's totally fine. But just know that they're trying to keep things going as best they can, just like everyone else, right? And so as we all try to figure this out, I think we should all just have a little bit of grace, a little bit of forgiveness for everybody as we try to navigate these weird times.
Totally. Paxton, navigating these weird times, obviously your company's doing a great job in helping your customers. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit and learn more about you. On days when you're not kicking on all cylinders and things aren't flowing the way you'd like them to, when I love to say when you're having trouble thriving, who or what practice do you seek to get yourself back on the thriving track?
To me, it's all around people, connecting with and getting on the same page with people. And that can mean my executive team. You know, every time we meet, I always leave energized and refocused on what we need to do to help our company grow. And that's more important now. I mean, we've been meeting more frequently, and it's been really great for us. And the same thing is true with our customers. You know, I don't think I've ever had more conversations and connections with our customers than I have in these past couple of months. And that for me has really helped me again focus on what we need to do as a business and to help things move in the right direction, because it helps me better understand who our customers are and what they're facing, what they're dealing with. You know, as a company, we've been doing okay. We haven't laid anybody off. I don't foresee us having to lay anybody off, and it's been good from that standpoint. And what that has unfortunately led me into is this feeling of like everything's okay. But then I hop on the phone with one of my clients who that is not the case. It makes me realize like, oh, okay, you know, this is my experience is not the same as everyone else's. And so how do I respond to that instead of coming to everybody from where I am, trying to come at them from where they are, which again is the same thing as marketing. I mean, to me, it's just marketing is just human connections. So that for me has been the most important, is connecting with other people and keeping that flow of conversation going, which can be really difficult right now. You have to be super proactive to make that happen.
Let's do the admin part of the show here, Paxton, if you could. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you, 97th floor, everything that you guys are doing. We'll put it all in the show notes. However, it's always better when they connect and hear it directly from you.
Oh, yeah. So you can find 97th floor at 97thfloor.com. That's 97thfloor.com. You can also find us on Twitter at 97thfloor. And you can find me, I'm most active on LinkedIn. If you just search Paxton Gray, I should be the first result. And yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I always love to chat, talk shop. And if I can help in any way, let me know.
Permission to drive down Fun Street, Paxton Gray.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, I know the answer to this. We're going to have a fun, quick conversation. Can you share with the listeners what your all-time favorite movie is?
My all-time favorite movie. I actually don't remember what I put on the survey, but my go-to is Gladiator.
Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Okay, good. Gladiator. Love that movie. It's so awesome.
I love it. I love when a well-planned, oiled machine gets on all the cogs here. Okay, so here's the question: what is the part of the movie or the reason why this movie connects so much with you?
I love that he is simultaneously a great, intelligent warrior and asset to, the empire, while having as his number one priority and focus his family. So I really, about him, and that resonates with me a lot. My family for me is number one, and why I do everything I do. And then beyond that, when family is no longer something that has as an option, I won't spoil it, kind of an old movie, but the focus that he has on his objective, I find that so inspiring. And I find that inspiring in other people, like Steve Jobs and other people who's just like a clear, concise focus. That to me is just something I really respect and admire.
Yeah. Do you like music, Paxton?
Yeah, I do.
Is there a certain song or jam that you listen to when you're working out or you want to get yourself in a better mood? Some kind of favorite tune of yours you can share with the listeners?
Yeah, I actually don't. Not a lot of people know this about me, and not a lot of people hear me listen to this, but anything that's ska. Ska is like my favorite type of music. And Streetlight Manifesto, Point Counterpoint was probably my favorite song, I'd say.
So that is fascinating. You have a predecessor to reggae, really, right? That's what ska is as a favorite tune. May I ask how that became music that you liked? Is that something that you came across a lot growing up?
Yeah. So in high school, I was a big fan of the Aquabats. I mean, I've only been to 3 concerts in my life, and all 3 of them have been Aquabats concerts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so, back in high school, I was just like super goofy. I was a class clown. I was like, I pulled lots of pranks, and I, just crazy high school kid. And then I grew up, I got a family, and now I'm way more serious. My life is way more serious than it used to be. And I find that when I listen to ska, it brings me back to that time when things just weren't so serious. And it always lifts me up. I love it.
That is spectacular. That is a first here on Thrive Live. We love firsts when they come in there. My production team just got excited as they're trying to run through the library of music that they could close the show with. So Paxton, we talked about this, and I guess I want to hit the last point here as a marketing guru, which I'll put you in that bucket, even though you won't call yourself that. As you're looking at marketing trends that are out there, is there something that you've seen recently across the platforms that's gone viral or has been really effective? It's almost been very fun, something that's connected with you. It doesn't have to be necessarily from a corporate kind of communication, but something that you've seen across any of the platforms, from TikTok to YouTube to whatever it might be, something that's caught your eye?
Yeah. It's really interesting, but Slack isn't something most people think about when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
But I love it when marketers use tools for an unintended purpose. And I think Slack is a prime candidate for that. Recently, this team, I need to get the name of who did this. They are in the middle of recreating every Office episode through Slack. So it's a Slack community that you can join, and you can sit there and watch all the characters as Slack members recreate every episode, and they're going through all of them.
Oh, that is, so they're making like the communication of the dialogue via a Slack environment?
Yes. Uh-huh.
God.
As if the employees were communicating over Slack instead of in person. I mean, genius. Like, what a cool idea. Now, I don't have the patience necessarily to sit there and read through every episode, but I'm excited to see how people use Slack as a different form of communication. Building and owning their own community is an obvious answer to that, but the capacity for doing cool marketing things through Slack is just wide open. No one's thinking about it right now.
So, by the way, that's great. I've been using Slack more often for certain groups that I've been involved with and certain clients, and I can see, based on the size of the organization, how Slack can actually replace internal email. And and really minimizing the amount. Anything that minimizes the amount of emails you get is a wonderful thing. Not for client, not for business development or external communication of email, which is obviously ideal for that. But just to be able to clean all that up, it's really wonderful. But to create a Slack environment that mimics the office is brilliant. I love it. I got to find that. I might have to subscribe.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know if I have the patience to do it either, Paxton, but that's pretty cool.
I hope we see a Thrive Loud Slack community. If there's not already one. We should,
it's funny because Thrive, we're doing our first live episode next week on across the social media platforms, and obviously we have such a huge community of guests, and it has been discussed as a cool way to continue to market. So you know what? I think I found my partner here and who could help promote it and market it better. How does it sound like an opportunity?
Love it.
Oh man. Well, Paxton, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. Excited to continue to see where you go, where 97th floor goes. Best of luck to you and to your family. And thanks again for coming on Thrive Lab.
Hey, you too. Thank you. It's been a great experience. Stay safe. And I hope everything keeps going well with you guys.
You got it. And to all our Thrive Lab listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.